Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Hare,
Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Ram
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
श्री
Hare Ram,
कृष्ण
Ram
चैतन्य
Ram.
प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण everyone. So today is 11th of January 2024 and it is Paushya Masa or Narayana Masa, Krishna Paksham and Amavasya Tithi. So there are no events today. So we shall quickly enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Parikshit Maharaj, he is speaking to the great sages and Brahmanas, Rajarshis, Brahmashis, Devashis, and everyone, and taking the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So yesterday he was mentioning the Supreme Personality of Godhead has arranged to bring me back to Godhead by the just name of a Nirveda Molo Vijasaparupo, just Brahmanas curse. I have been engaged in the material activities and family affairs, but where all this, the fearfulness of the time factor would take place. So, tasya me agasya paravareshu vyasakta chittasya gruheshu abhikshnam nirveda mulo dvijasaparupo yatra prasakto bhayamasu dhatte. Likewise, Parikshit, he is mentioning, so to all the great sages, how he is mentioning, Upasito agre abhigruhita panihi, folding his hands, standing in front of them like a brutya, and then speaking in a very humble manner. Vijñāpayāmasa vivekta cheta. So today, further, Parikshit Maharaj, he is mentioning to the great sages that he is taking shelter of at the lotus feet of all these Brahmashis, Rajarshis, Devarshis, and everyone. And also, I am taking the shelter of this. Let Ganga river also be my shelter, and you are all my shelter. And I have decided to surrender myself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in my heart. So likewise, he's saying either it is the curse of a Brahmana or some kind of magical thing, it would happen, let it be. But I wanted to hear all the Vishnu Katha, Krishna Kathas without any further delay. So likewise, Parikshit Maharaj is saying to all these great sages. So we are in the first canto, chapter 19, verse number 15. तमोपयातं प्रदयन्तु विप्रा गंगा च देवी द्रुतचित्तमीशे द्विजोपसृष्टः कुहकः तक्षको वा दशत्वलं गायत विष्णुगाथाः तं मोपयातं प्रथयन्त विप्राः. So for that reason, what reason? Nirveda Molo Dvijasapa Rupo. For that reason, and I am taking tam tamma upayatam pratiyant vipraha, and I am taking shelter of all of you, O Devashis, Brahmanas, and great sages, and pratiyant vipraha. So please accept me. Tamma upayatam pratiyant vipraha, O all the Brahmanas. Ganga cha Devi, and Ganga river is also a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let Ganga river also be my shelter. Devi cha Druta Chitta Mishe. So I'm firmly decided in my heart. Dhృతచిత్తమీశే. Isha is the supreme personality of Godhead. And Dhృతచిtta, it is firmly determined with complete determination. Dhృతచిత్తమీశే. द्विजोपसृष्टः कुहकः तक्षको वा. द्विजोपसृष्टः, either Brahmanas curse, Dvija upasrustah, created by the Brahmana. Kuhakaha takshakova. Kuhakaha, whatever it is, magical thing. Takshakova, either it is by the um, a Brahmana's curse or it can be a Takshaka snake bite. Dashitu, so Takshaka snake's bite. Dashitu, alam gayata Vishnu gadaha. So without further delay, gayata Vishnu gadaha. And please go on singing the narration of the deeds of Vishnu. Alam gayata Vishnu gadaha. So likewise, he wanted to completely surrender himself. What he was saying previously, Dadmo Mukundangrim Ananya Bhavo. So he surrendered himself completely without any further exceptions, surrendered himself. Dadmo Mukundangrim Ananya Bhavo. He is at the lotus feet. Here, Dhృతచిtta means a complete determination in the mind. What he wanted to do? Alam Ghayata Vishnu Gadaha. Without further delay, he wanted to hear Krishna Katha. So, either it is a Brahmana's thing or a Takshaka snake bite, let it be. But I have taken shelter of all of you, O Brahmanas, and also Ganges River, and also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now I wanted to hear Krishna Katha. So beautifully. So he has got everything perfectly arranged. It is nothing but Lord's will. So one is all the great sages, and then is the Ganges River, and in the heart he surrendered himself to the Supreme Lord, and he wanted to hear Krishna Katha. Tam mopayatam pratiyantu vipraha gangate devi dhృతచిత్తమీశే द्विजोपसृष्टः कुहकः तक्षको वा dasatvalam gayata Vishnu gadaha. So that is from a translation for this verse is, O Brahmanas, just accept me as a completely surrendered soul, and let Mother Ganges, the representative of the Lord, also accept me in that way. For I have already taken the lotus feet of the Lord into my heart. Let the snake bird or whatever magical thing the Brahmana has created bite me at once. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of Lord Vishnu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As soon as one is given up completely onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, he is not at all afraid of death. The atmosphere created by the presence of great devotees of the Lord on the bank of the Ganges and Maharaja Parikshit's complete acceptance of the Lord's lotus feet were sufficient guarantee to the king for going back to Godhead. He thus became absolutely free from all fear of death. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is mentioning a person who has surrendered himself to Krishna 100%, he is not at all afraid of death. So here, how one can, in our day-to-day experience, so if we do one thing and the second time to do the same thing, it would be very easy for us because we have experienced it. But here, to experience the death before actually the death, that is called civil suicide. Prabhupada mentions it is a civil suicide. We do not attach to this material world anymore. Kind of a, even though we live in this body, we are materially, in the sense, civilized, civically, so we are dead. So that is very beautiful. Then one will see the real world as it is. Before we leave this body, we see the world as it is. After leaving the body, then we see what have I done? Why I have been engaging all this time, wasting all this time, working hard day and night. अज्ञाप्तार्धकरणानि निश्चयान नाना मनोरथ ध्याक्षणभग्न निद्राः. So without losing a single moment, I wanted to hear Krishna Katha. So this is previously all this time. I have been engaging in the horrible works without sleeping, hard work for the family. This is child, this is my husband, this is my home. I have to pay this bill. So these were the Gruheshu Kotantreshu Dukkatantreshu Atindritaha. All these things coming into my life and they're becoming burden. There is no gap for me to come to hear Krishna Katha peacefully. Even though hearing Krishna Katha is so tense. All the time we are running behind the time. So such a way the life is being carried out. So when we are, it is a civil death. When it is a civil death, we do not attach to this material world anymore. But Lord would take care of all of us in such a way. So like Lord is taking care of elephants, ants, everyone, all the living. It is giving all the food, sleep, and everything. There is enough, the sufficient resources in the nature. Why can't I be survived? Why can't I be part of the Lord's mercy? Why he would not take? So that is a completely surrendered soul. So he is not at all afraid of death when he surrendered himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now here Prabhupada mentions, so the atmosphere is created in such a way by the presence of the great devotees of the Lord on the banks of the Ganges. Maharaja Parikshit's complete acceptance of the Lord's lotus feet was sufficient guarantee to the king for going to back to Godhead. So that is completely free from all fear of death. नान्यत्र मद्भगवतः प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरात् आत्मनः सर्वभूतानां भयं तीव्रं निवर्तते. There is no more fear because there is no one who can relieve from the fear except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the always remembering in that time. Every moment it is ticking. One moment pass, we don't take it back. Did I chant it on Lord's names or not? That is the only matter. Past, anyway, it has happened. We cannot change it. Future, we cannot predict it. Am I chanting at this moment right now or not? It is my decision. It is my free will. Yatechasi tatha kuru. When you have got all this knowledge, then you do whatever you want. You wanted to be in this material world, or you wanted to chant the glories of the name in connection with Krishna all the time. So that is one's free will. So here, Parikshit is completely, absolutely free from all fear of death, who has surrendered Dadma Mukundangrim Ananya Bhavo. Nanyatra Mad Bhagavataha Pradhana Purusheshwarat Atmanaha Sarubhatanam Bhayam Tevra Nivattate. Everything is running under the Supreme Personality of Godhead's direction. All the material nature, everything. Three material modes of nature, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Gunabhimanano, even the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, they're also running under the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sargadishwasya yadbhayat and vattanti anuyugam esham vashe etat sacharacharam. Everything, there is nothing else. Karmana daiva netrena. This is only what we need to do. We need to wish. Yatechasi tatha kuru. What is my desire? That is only in my control. Everything else is running under supreme divine control. Okay, so that is from the purport. Prabhupada is very beautifully explaining every verse. So likewise, Parikshit is submitting himself in front of all the Brahmanas and sages. Tam mopayatam pratiyant vipraha ganga cha devi chittamishe द्विजोपसृष्टः कुहकः तक्षको वा दशत्वलं गायत विष्णुगादाः. So we shall quickly enter into Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today it is letter to Bhadra Bardhan. December 4th, 1969, London. Can I request any dear devotees to read this letter? It is small letter only.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I read?
Yes, Mataji, please. Yeah.
My dear Bhadra Bardhan, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated November 23rd, 1969, and have noted the contents. I am pleased to learn that the Columbus Center is improving gradually and now you have begun to perform plays for the guests at the Sunday feasts. In one way or another, you should always be engaged in Krishna consciousness. This will protect you from the onslaughts of material nature. Regarding your question about item being used in Krishna's service becoming spiritual, you should understand it that anything which will remind one Krishna is spiritual and anything which will make one forget Krishna is material. Actually, everything is of spiritual nature because everything is coming from the ultimate source Krishna. But when something is offered to the Lord or when it is used in his service, then it resumes its spiritual quality because it will remind one of Krishna. Therefore, even though such object may not have consciousness, it will act as spiritual. It is just like when an iron rod is put into the fire, the rod has not actually become fire, but it will act in just the same way as fire. Regarding your question about Brahmajyoti, it is explained in Bhagavad Gita that the impersonal Brahman effulgence is emanating from Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Brahmajyoti is just like the sunlight, which emanates from the sun god. Because the sunlight has no personal form, this does not mean that sun god has become impersonal. You have seen in pictures of Lord Krishna that there is a nice effulgence coming from his body. This effulgence is Brahmajyoti and it is pervading throughout the entire spiritual and material manifestation. But above this Brahmajyoti is the supreme source of everything, Lord Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. I hope this important point is clear to you now. Please offer my blessing to Jaya Gopala and the others. I hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Any takeaway points, Mataji, from this letter?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It's like 2 3 important point is one first Prabhupada says like one should always remember Krishna. So for that, one way or other, we should engage in some activities in Krishna consciousness. We should yesterday's letter, I think Prabhupada was mentioning, you should adjust schedule your day in a way that every time you will be chanting, or every day, every second, every moment you will be remembering Krishna. Uh, so it is difficult if we do something else. So Prabhupada is advising him to engage in some way or other activities in Krishna consciousness throughout the day. So that can only onslaught protect you from the onslaught of material nature. And then Prabhupada, as always, giving very beautiful answers to the questions of disciples. So first question was whether the item used for Krishna service is spiritual or not. So Prabhupada is saying with a perfect example of an iron rod, when it contact with fire, even though it is not converted into fire, but it will act as fire. So anything which we utilize for the service of Krishna will become spiritualized, even though it is an object which it does not have consciousness. So and Prabhupada also say anything which remind us about Krishna is spiritual, and anything which is doing not, which will not allow us to remind Krishna is Maya. So Prabhupada also says that. And then Prabhupada gives explanation for what is Brahmajyoti, the basic question or the basic important philosophical point. So Prabhupada is explained that it is the effulgence coming from the Krishna's body. So it doesn't mean that Krishna's form is not there. He don't have that personal form. So it just like sun god emanates light. This Brahmajyoti is the light coming from Krishna's body. And Prabhupada also explained, like when we see the Lord Krishna's photo picture, that there's a light nice light. So that is Brahma Jyoti. So, and Prabhupada also, I hope this important point is clear to you. So it is an important point because lot of conflict, lot of arguments, lot of philosophical difference is there in understanding the Brahma Jyoti. So that is an important point. When we remain in Krishna consciousness, we should aware about our philosophy very clearly, what is what, when, so that when someone asks, we can explain what is what. So that is also important. So Prabhupada is mentioning that also. So yes, Prabhu, that's all I could recollect from this lecture. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So beautifully summarized all these points. Thank you. Any other points, dear devotees, you wanted to mention?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhupada is pointing out the importance of propagating community place for worship. Mataji summed up beautifully. I'm just adding to it. And he's pleased about the progress of this Columbus Center that they're building, yes, and how important it is to provide a place where people can go, and he's advising that they should provide plays and also big feasts, because Prabhupada was very hot on the Sunday feast, and most of the temples are doing Sunday feasts now. I know Bhaktivedanta Mana, every Sunday they do a big Sunday feast. It's wonderful. And people go and listen to Katha, and you know, different people speak there and everything. So it's really, really enriching and nourishing to the heart. And he's saying he was always engaged in Krishna conscious service and keep everything in memory of Krishna. So it's like as Mataji said, the fire is there, you can see it, just like Krishna is there, and he's solid, and he is our guide, and he gives us everything. When people like us, we like a red hot fire poker. So we are, although you can't see the fire in us, we are servants of the Lord, and so we connected to him, and we are very important in his service. So we are just as well counted as part of. And with our sincere, severe commitment, we can get closer to him and be liberated. I think that's what the message is saying. And there's another analogy that he said about the sun and the rays of the sun. Although the rays is not solid, you cannot see it like you see the sun, is still connected to the sun, and is important, and it gives us love and light and nourish us in different ways. So Krishna is there, and he's nourishing us. It's up to us to take up that nourishment and manifest it in our lives, so that we can become happier than we are, and not flounder around in the material world. So the aim is to stick to that path and reach the spiritual world, permanent happiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very nicely explained. Very beautifully said, Prabhupada, in this word. So this is Yata Ulmukad Vispulingad Dhumadvapi Swasambhavat Api Atmatvena Abhimatat Yatagnihi Prudagulmukad. So from the fire, all these sparks come and smoke come, and likewise, as long as we are living in this body, all these activities are also come. So by nature, we belong to that one, the fire, actual fire. यथा उल्मुखात् विस्फुलिंगात् धूमाद्वा अपि स्वसंभवात् अपि आत्मत्वेन अभिमतात् यथा अग्निः पृथगुल्मुखात्. This very beautiful analogy also given in the Bhagavatam. Similar way, Prabhupada is mentioning here. So nice. Brahmano hi pratistaham. So Prabhupada is mentioning this one. Very nice. Thank you so much, Mataji. Any other points, dear devotees? Okay, so that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. And from the announcements point of view, so today evening at 8 p.m. we have got Krishna Katha with Ramnasuk Prabhuji and Shyam Gudivada Prabhuji. And coming Tuesday is our again preaching session with Devashish Prabhuji. Coming Saturday is our Bhagavad Gita session with Vipin Vihar Dasa Prabhuji. Those are coming events. I don't have any further updates. And dear devotees, if you have got any updates or you want to share anything on Krishna consciousness, kindly share. Okay, so if there are no further updates, then we shall conclude and continue with further japa. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Vaishnava ki jai. Jai.
Hare Krishna conscious day everyone.
Hare Krishna. Happy Krishna Consciousness Day. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi